In this video, we are going to focus on the properties that we can use to change or customize the appearance of the slider widget of the customtkinter library. First, we are going to change the hover property. It can have the value true or false. Here we are using this library that I'm working on. I'm using JSON properties, so I'm setting true, or to specify true, I set it to 1. To specify false, I will set it to 0. This is the slider. This is how it looks like in the blue theme in dark mode by default. So when I hover over the slider, you can see the color of the button of the slider changes. Now if I set it to 0, if I hover over it, it doesn't change. Now the height of the slider, but the default value is 16, so I'm going to set it, for example, to 30 view. You can see the height of the slider change immediately. The width, I'm going to set it to 250. You can see here again the value or the appearance changed. The background color by default, or the BG color by default, is transparent. So if I set it, for example, to pink preview, you can see the appearance or the color pink around the slider. But if I change the height, you can see the distance between the slider and the border of the background color doesn't change. So I will set it back to 30. I don't recall if it was 30 or not. So the background color is equal to pink. The border color by default, it's a transparent color also. So we can change the border color of our slider. I can set it to red. You can see here the red color of the slider. I'm going to change it to yellow. Yeah, this is the yellow color of our slider, or the yellow border color. State normal, I can interact with the widget. Now I'm going to set it to disable it. If I click on it now, or I try to change the value, it doesn't change. So its state is disabled. I will set it back to normal. The other property that we can change is the orientation. You can set it to horizontal or vertical. So if you set it to vertical and click on preview, you can see here the appearance change, but the functionality is the same. I set it back to horizontal. You can see here our horizontal slider. The other property is the corner radius. If I set it to 5, you can see it looks like a rectangle, not an ellipse or an oval. It doesn't have this oval shape. If I set it to 20, we have the oval shape again, or the ellipse shape again. Button corner radius, this one. If I set it to 5, you can see how it looks like. If I set it to 20, preview, rounded button, set it to 2, you can see it looks like a line that's sliding. Set it back or set it to 50. We have a circle, normal circle again, or disc. Border width. So if I set the border width to 10, you can see the yellow color is thicker. The yellow color is the color of our border. Now the button length, if I set it to 5, for example, you can see the width of our button increased. If I set it to 10, it got even bigger. So the width of our button increased again. I'm going to set the border width to 6, so you can see the other colors clearly. The FG color, if I set it to, let's say, red, so the FG color is the value of, or it's the color of the slider, that is the part of the slider that has no value, that is not, let's say, that corresponds to no value. The default color, or the background color of our default FG color in customtkinter, the background colors are the FG colors. So the default FG color of our slider Now the progress color is the color of this gray, the progress value, the actual value. So if I set it to orange, for example, you can see here the value here. It was, or the color was gray, it changed to orange. I can set it to green too. You can see our green color and our red color. So this is the FG color. This is the progress color. The green is the progress color. The button color, the color of this button, if I set it to orange, again, we can specify one value or two values. One value means the actual color. We'll give the color to the widget or the property related. The two values means the first one is for light theme, the second one is for dark theme. Here, the default mode is not, or the mode is not selected, so it will take the mode of the system. The system is in dark mode, so the colors will correspond to the dark mode colors. So orange, click on preview, you can see here the button, the color of our button slider change. I can also set it to pink. You can see our pink button, black, our black button. Now the hover color, so the button hover color, we can change also the hover color. You can see here it has this dark blue. I can set it to blue, simple blue. Click preview. Now if I hover over my button, I can see the blue color of my slider. I think these are the properties we can use to customize our slider widget of the custom CTkSlider library. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Bye.